I want to bring in our panel on this. Jeannie Zaino, political science professor from the great Iona College. Dominic Carter, political journalist and author from Syracuse. And senior political correspondent Andrew Whitman from Johns Hopkins. Well, at least you have lacrosse. All right.
Not this year.
Yeah. Jeannie, you're at the school right now. Give an idea to the public. When they go to replace someone or someone leaves and there's a search committee, especially, let's make it up, if the person's left because there was some financial irregularities or whatever else, the last thing they're going to do, the first names they're going to check off is anybody who had any vague hint of anything resembling the last scandal. It is mind-boggling with the international press's story got that this woman was even on the list to be interviewed, let alone hired.
Yeah, absolutely. It is absolutely difficult to imagine how she got on the list. You know, she may be a fabulous, athletics director, but it would have to be somewhere else. If you have this kind of background, surely you aren't the right person for Rutgers, so that's number one. Because look, she could have been rehabilitated. This was, almost a decade and a half ago. She could have, been remorseful. She could have, changed her ways, absolutely, but she should not be at Rutgers. So how she got through this process, it's absolutely mind-boggling to think she was properly vetted, which it appears that she was not, and got into this process. So right there are enormous questions to be asked about what is going on at Rutgers. Surely they had a search firm handling this. There was a search committee. All of that seems to be bypassed.
And let's see what else we've learned also, Dom. First off, they horribly handled the Rice firing, and I will contend to the day that was all because of the Big Ten. They wanted to get in there. They kept the thing quiet. All of a sudden, it became public. And even then, after it became public, they didn't get out ahead of this. They let the public force them to have to fire him, and then they fired the AD after. It was just a complete you-know-what. But this woman not only had the backstory that took all of 2 phone calls from the New York Star-Ledger reporter to break to find out. She had an additional sexual harassment lawsuit at Tennessee, where another former coach claimed she lost her job because she became pregnant, and there was video of her at a wedding even talking about it, which she claimed didn't exist, and then we saw. And then there was a subsequent lawsuit also that happened when she went to Louisville just a couple of years ago. Add on top of all that, they hired a basketball coach, a nice guy, who didn't even get his college degree. And yet they're the ones, unsolicited, who put in this memo that he's a graduate and alumni of the college. Again, you have to try to screw this thing up. And this is D1, now Big Ten. This is big boys, league we're playing. It's really stunning how screwed up it is.
Governor Christie is see no evil, hear no evil. I don't know nothing. I trust the president of Rutgers. But the fact of the matter is the president has to go this time.
Do you think you will?
If the governor continues to support him, I doubt it, because you got the Board of Trustees, and they're not going to get rid of him as long as the governor is there.
Without doing too much inside baseball, this has a lot to do with the medical school and the new deal that they took over.
But Richard, how do you, okay, if you're hiring, if let's look at government, and you're the president, and you're hiring a new cabinet secretary, the first thing you do is you don't comment until the FBI report gets back. So you would think on every potential candidate, I don't have anything to say until I see that she or he has been properly vetted and there's no more skeletons or no more problems. Everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong.
This is easy political shot to the governor because he chose to give his full-throated support, Andrew, as he did for this college president. And while he didn't make an opinion on the AD, he certainly didn't say, on the surface of it, it doesn't look good for it, anything like that. He chose to completely abdicate himself from this. I don't know, it just has the feel of the whole Rice thing all over again. Well, we said that night when we saw the video, this guy's going to get fired. Yet they dragged it out 1, 2, 3 days until they finally had to pull the trigger. You got the same sense here?
I don't, only because Christie is as dug in and sort of vouched for the university president in the way that he did. It's funny.
But how about the AD?
But I think the AD should go. And I think this is a horrible decision on Rutgers' part. From the new basketball coach to the new athletic director all the way through, there need to be wholesale changes at Rutgers. But if you close your eyes and you listen to Dick Cody complaining about the governor, to me, it's the same as what Republicans are saying about the IRS and President Obama. Does it go all the way to the top just because it happens on your watch?
No, I don't think anyone rightfully should blame the governor at all for this. But for the governor to not, as Dominic said, completely extricate himself. Instead, he gave the full support to the university president when we still don't even know all the facts. That, for a smart guy like Chris
When's the last time you heard Chris Christie admit to a mistake? I mean, Chris Christie is not the kind of personality who says, you know what, my bad, and I...
He didn't have to go where he went to today. And again, I know you're closer to this than us, but these are still, their jobs are to look after kids. Kids get sent to a college. You said it before, Dominic. Those college kids on the basketball team, when Rice was humming basketballs at him, pushing him and saying all sorts of things, what were they going to do? They'd lose their scholarship if they opened their mouth. Girls on the Tennessee volleyball team, they say anything here, they're going to lose some financial aid or whatever else. This woman's now in charge of cleaning up the program when she's got 2 lawsuits, whether they were cleared or not, it's not the point, and every single team signing a universal letter to it, and this again is supposed to be under the rubric of education, higher learning. I mean, this isn't the pros.
And it's not only what happened 15 years ago. Let's not forget that she was confronted with the allegations. She forgot the wedding.
Yep.
She forgot she was in the wedding. I've been a bridesmaid. You never forget that experience.
Or the dress.
She forgot that she had a meeting where she quit coaching with 15 or 16 of her players. I mean, the whole thing is so unbelievable that she really does need to take responsibility. Not just, like I said, she could have been rehabilitated, but for what she's done today, not acknowledging the mistakes.
Just hit it. For me, this is all about credibility, and unfortunately, right now, Rutgers doesn't have a whole lot of it. All right, please keep the conversation going online. Go online and go to Facebook, Twitter. Tell us what you think. Should the AD, let's start there at least, should the athletic director, Ms. Hermann here, be terminated? We'll be getting your reaction in the coming days. All right, coming up next. Has Anthony Weiner turned a corner? What something would have been thought impossible even a week ago now looks more and more like Dominic might not be crazy here. In a debate last night, there was a little mention of his Twittering past, and he's moving up in the polls. That and more straight ahead.